welcome to Obidient Family TV. The program is Hope Alive. Yes, there is hope in Nigeria, and a new Nigeria is really very possible. If you believe that, please go and give a thumbs up at the comment section and tell us, yes, that a new Nigeria is possible. On a good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending on our time zone, we have come today to have a discussion on what is happening in Nigeria as far as it concerns well-meaning Nigerians. Those people who care for a better Nigeria will continue to act as an official opposition to this very present government. So we would like to start this very highlight with what is happening currently as we speak in Rivers State. Port Harcourt International Airport was actually shut down and the flight operations were disrupted as protests rocks everywhere around the neighboring communities. We are going to bring that, how it is happening there, and the reasons for it happening, and why a very heavy protest has to come out from Rivers State, where everybody is expecting that peace should reign, because for a while now, Rivers State has been off the news. But then again, we have this happening. So we are going to bring and tell you what their grievances are. And we have this news again coming out that Setraco workers, or call it ad hoc workers, that were kidnapped. It's a report that came in. Now, why would a report come of a kidnap or abduction of Setraco staff and there is no report of it anywhere in the media for the time? Because these people that are now in the bush, in the hands of the bandits, as they are displaying them so that they can get ransom money, they spoke and said where they were coming from, how they were transferred, and where they worked for. We are going to bring this and speak more on it. Then we have a report that just came in. No, this is unverified report that federal government has agreed with Labour Congress that they are going to pay 155,000 naira minimum wage. Recall, this has been going on for some time now, and we have this Abdullah who said it's a breaking news that the federal government has agreed on 155k as the new minimum national minimum wage. And the NLC and TUC chairman respectively thank all the members involved and all of this coming out from Ayofe, and that is a tweet that is just on the screen. So, plus more that we are going to bring to all obedience this hour, and I have Divine Dawns to do credit to this.
Oh, one more comment. Thank you for joining us. It is my pleasure to have you here today. Let's move on and have this conversation. Yes,
as we start this conversation, please endeavor to like and share the video of Obidient. If you are an Obidient and or if you're a well-meaning Nigerian, please, if you come across this, just like that's what you can do for the Obidient movement and the Obidient Family TV to continuously continue on bringing the news, as it were. So let's get this very thing started, Divine. Just happening now, the news and reports coming out is that Port Harcourt International Airport road has been blocked and flight operations has been disrupted. And the host communities are more of holding the airport around some. So I think they are resolving this, trying to make sure that these things come and go. But we need to hear more of what happened there, since you have been having discussions with the people who are actually at that very location. So let's get the issues around that very area. I was expecting that let's even take a listen to that very particular video coming out from River State before Divine comes on.
Yes, we are tired.
So, Divine, I suppose you have an insider's report as you spoke to one of the people who were there from Rivers.
Well, the story is that the residents of Omagwa and Ipo local governments, or rather communities, have a lot to say, and they were particularly outraged because, according to them, they don't have lights for 10 years and they wanted a compensation for the noise pollution that comes from the airport every day. They said, we are tired and that's why we're here. This is in quotes coming from them. Basically, these people came out en masse as early as 7 a.m. this morning, and they actually came out to the airport and actually disrupted activities. A lot of people were stranded and movements were disrupted as major flights actually that were supposed to take off from Port Harcourt International Airport were held, So it's just very interesting to see, to be honest. But all I can say, my perspective is that the hunger in the land and the anger has them, talking about things that originally are the government officials are actually the necessary for the government to do for them, because I think the main crux of the matter is that they lack employment from these airports, because if these airports actually employed their people or residents of this community, I doubt it would be in their best interest to actually halt the activities going on there. So I believe they feel slighted and they just believe that, all these years of housing or being the host community to this airport, we should have something to show for it.
Of course, I believe that the way airport works is when the government builds an airport, it must take cognizance of the fact that it's a host community.
Right.
Those host communities are given priority in the employment around that airport. It also helps to proximity to work to the airport, and also it helps that very host community to make sure that their people are actually benefiting from it. If they have something like car hire services, they are giving more priority to the car hire services for those of them who could actually do those services. But what we see coming out from them is not just the airport on itself, but you talk more of light. Right. The airport is an international airport which should be running a light supply of 24 hours. Right. And if that airport has a grid of its own, it means that they have the capacity to even supply that community light. And it becomes a benefit to that very community. So I think these are the things. Then coupled with what you said about the hunger and the starvation in the land. Everything is so expensive. Why wouldn't they protest? After all, it's their land. The land by now should have appreciated. Maybe government should give them more money.
Well, I think this is just very typical of the Nigerian government and actually all parastatals, to be very honest. We saw what happened with the Okama community and the fact that there are different communities who have been of help to the country or whose natural resources have actually, been useful to our gross domestic product and actually making sure that revenue is generated for the government. But, the government just takes these natural resources, does what they can with it and forgets the community that are providing them. So I understand their pain and I understand their agitation. But I just think it is something that could be solved with proper dialogue. And so the leaders of this community should actually, go back to the drawing board with the officials of this airport and, just come up with something that's going to be favorable to both the community and both, the airport.
And now, having done that, we notice that it has affected the people that are traveling today because most flight operations were grounded. As a result of that, most people had to miss their appointments. Right. Most people you understand? So whenever such a thing happens, it disrupts the process and operations of an airport, which the flow should always be free because people who are traveling by air are always having an appointment to meet, you understand? If not, they could go by road, but of course we know what goes with road. They don't want to be kidnapped. So right. The roads are death traps. So it means for the poor. So they fly. By reason of flying, they want to get to where they're going, not just safely, but on time. Right. But most of them today lamented the basic fact that some of them were even saying they're going to sue the airlines. But in Nigeria, how does that work? this thing doesn't work. Right. But anyway, while we wait for the production team to actually get us the interviews that were interviewed at that very airport and what the community said against what the airport authorities said, let's switch to the bandits that kidnapped Setraco people to hear whether Setraco actually went to the police station to report this, or went to the military to report this, or actually brought this to the limelight, because we have not seen any of such. And we also want to find out whether really it is these people, are they really workers or ad hoc staff of Setraco? Let's hear from this viral video that were posted probably by the kidnapper, because this time around they usually do this, take people, take their details and actually do the video by themselves and post. I mean, ironically, I wonder why even the security operatives cannot trace some of these videos or where it's coming from. Well,
to be honest, it's either they are understaffed or unequipped, or both, to be very honest, because we know a proper, military intelligence is supposed to have, up-to-date or state-of-the-art equipment to make sure the activities of bandits are, curbed. But, well, this is Nigeria, and we know 80% of the things in this country do not work. So, these bandits are actually on a spree. Yesterday, we saw the video of the guy who was flaunting, money for ransom, or ransom money that he had collected from his victims. And it's just, a free-for-all society. Everybody does whatever they want. And that's why when Kenneth Okonkwo said anarchy looms, I actually took him really seriously, because I don't think it just looms. We've finally arrived at a state of anarchy, because I don't understand the audacity or the impetus of, bandits to actually come out and post videos of their activities and nobody is checking them. And so this is just what you get from a country or from a government that cares little or cares less about the lives and property.
But again, I think the people who post this, they're actually posting it from their timeline, because the one that was reported yesterday, the one with the ransom money and all of that, they said he posted it by himself and he has over 3,000 subscribers or something like that. Whenever you are posting something, of course, there must be an account to it, and there must be a location to it. I mean, couldn't they have worked with the providers of this platform to know where those things are coming from in order to track it?
I don't think they care enough, to be very honest. After all, these things have not actually gotten to their doorstep. And so most times it feels like it's an abstract concept or an abstract idea or a reality that is not very, much in touch with them. And so because of that, they just do whatever they want. Yes, it is an account that is owned by them. Yesterday's own, the guy had over 3,000 followers on TikTok rather, and nobody was actually asking questions. So they know these things, but I just think they don't really care enough, or even if they do, they are understaffed, or maybe just very have this laissez-faire attitude when it has to do with it. So I just think crime is very much celebrated in this part of the world, and even if it is not celebrated, people don't care enough to do something concrete to make sure it doesn't happen again. So
okay, let's take a listen to what those people that were abducted has to say, then we'll come back and find out why Setraco has not reported this, if these are really their staff or ad hoc staff. Let's take a listen to the abductees.
This work from Kaduna Road. When we finish Kaduna Road, it travels to Saminaka. So the Saminaka, the money never ready. They bring us to Zapara here. So this Setraco. So this is the third place on the trap house now. Oh yeah.
Talk. I am a Bolon Road today. I'm a surveyor in Setraco. So we died yesterday, that we slept yesterday overnight.
Yi magana. Wani ya faru da mu aiki ne kawo nan. Nan bala'i ta zo ta same mu. So muna roke kamfani mu a yi magana da su domin su yi kokari su karbe mu. Domin mu koma mu je mu dubi mutanen mu. Aikin nan ba wai mun zo aikin mu ne. Ita aikin kamfanin ne ta kawo mu.
Kira ga gwamnati.
Kira ga gwamnati.
Muna kira ma gwamnati ta taimaka, kamar gwamnatin jihar Zamfara da federal government da ta ba ma kamfani aiki. Muna neman ta taimaka ta sasanta da mutanen nan a samu a
Divine, you see, the issue, the reason why I, kind of highlighted this very particular trending video is Setraco owes what we call a social responsibility as a company that is benefiting in the Nigerian economy. Whether it's a Nigerian company, I wouldn't know, but I know that Setraco is a big-time road construction company. So if these are their staff or their ad hoc staff, my expectation is that they should be able to report this to the authorities, because all this while we have not heard that staff of Setraco has been kidnapped.
Well, to be very honest, I understand your point about them actually coming out to make, the claim or actually raise alarm that, the people who are employed under our company are actually missing or have been kidnapped. But I actually want to raise the point that I think it's so much kidnaps that go on in a day or go on across the country on a daily basis that at some point we lose track of, the actual statistics or the actual numbers. A lot of them, it's not that they don't go mentioned or they go unmentioned. It's just that with the rate at which, in a day, we get different reports of different bandit attack or bandit activities in various parts of the country, it gets hard to keep up, right? So it is the responsibility of Setraco, to actually come out to say, we actually have our people being held by these bandits. But at the same time, I understand that at some point it gets hard to shine the spotlight on the totality of the bandits' activities or the banditry going on. So that is probably why we're unable to get the first-hand information or get first-hand publications about what it is that is the state of things with their ad hoc staff. But it's just very sad to see that these men are actually in the custody of these armed bandits and nobody's saying anything and everybody's just, acting like they don't matter or their life doesn't matter. We don't know what it is they're asking for, but we expect, some kind of, like you said, corporate social responsibility, that this company actually owes it to the people that they employed and the family of those who have kept their people under their care to actually say, we are actually going to make a fuss about this abduction and make sure that, they get to their families safe. So yes, they owe an obligation to the families of their employees.
One of the reasons why I brought this is because if it is one of their foreign directors or somebody who is an expert who is actually from outside the country, right, that is here now, it would have been reported across the whole news that somebody from US or UK or any other country has been kidnapped who happens to be who is working for Setraco. But whenever it happens to one of us, it looks like nothing has happened.
Well, like we rightly said, to be honest, it's either they are playing, I don't want to say favoritism in politics, to be honest, but at the same time, I think it gets hard to actually, now this is not to exonerate them, I'm just saying that it has been reported, at least it's in the limelight, we're having conversations about it, but not enough for us to know the true story or know the intricacies of all the details, right? The point is just that the banditry is at an all-time high, to be very honest. At some point, you lose count of the number of people who get kidnapped on a daily basis, and it becomes like a Herculean task to actually shine the spotlight on every single one of these kidnappings. So many times, it just gets all lost in statistics. So we just say, from this time to this time, we have over 8,000 people that have been kidnapped, and because they are not important people or people who actually have a lot to lose, or if people who can make the company lose a lot, we're just, very complacent about the whole thing. And so that is really what it is. They should be louder. They should be in the forefront of making sure they secure the release of these people. But at the same time, like you said, they don't have much to lose, especially when it's in relation to these people, because these are everyday people, who knows, probably ad hoc staff who are not actually on their payroll actively. And so it's just very convenient for them.
Looking at even how much these people are paying, like Setraco, I might want to encourage our people, whoever is working for Setraco right now, especially from this very Kaduna Zamfara side where they are talking about all of this, can somebody actually confirm that these things do happen and the people who are here actually work for Setraco, and also bring it to the management of Setraco if they are not aware that their staff was actually kidnapped, and to know what went wrong in all of this. And then when we talk about this minimum wage, whether you also confirm that or you want to agree that 155,000 naira is good enough for a minimum wage, please go to the comment section. Tell us what you feel that the report coming out, an unconfirmed report, so that we know how to deal. So, Divine, coming to this very particular minimum wage of 155,000, we know it is confirmed
Right.
report. However, no smoke without fire for Niger. You understand?
Right.
So when we see, we go talk. Then we go they wait for their reaction.
And propaganda.
Yes, and the propaganda will go there inside. So now, looking at it, do you really think that 155,000 naira is good enough given the inflation rate in Nigeria?
Well, to be honest, it is not good enough because, I mean, if you consider the current prices of food items, you realize that it's not something that is very workable, especially for somebody who has children to raise, right? But I think it is a step from, 30,000 or 35,000. So we have improved, but at the same time, the conditions have gotten worse or worse than it was, right? So we understand that 155K is not particularly the biggest money for anybody to earn monthly right now, especially with the current realities that are plaguing Nigerians. But I mean, it is unverified. We don't know what they're going to come out to say. I guess this is all still deliberation, and we await for them to actually confirm or deny this. As for the other time, they said it was over 900,000. We're actually looking at the feasibility, the workability of this money, because it's beyond just saying the minimum wage is 500,000. Do we actually get to pay that, right? Can government parastatals afford to pay that?
Exactly. That is where I was going to get to, because if the state governments, most state governments are not capable of paying 30,000 naira minimum wage, or they are struggling in paying 30,000 naira minimum wage. Now, how are they going to be confronted with times 3? Times 3, because it's more than times 3 myself. It's above times 3, because 30,000 you are getting at 90, and you're talking about this thing 120 and then 150. So it is like 300, above 300%. So what do you think that the state government by this time can be able to pay even at 155K?
That was my point I raised earlier. What's the feasibility? How much workable or practical is this, right? But I think it has gotten to the point where we have to actually make hard decisions, to be very honest, because it might not be necessarily easy on the state government, but at the same time, it is not easy on the populace either. So one person has to bear the brunt of it, and who is better suited to actually bear this brunt, if not the state government? After all, they get FAC allocations. The other day, we sat here and we discussed the billions of allocations and naira that various state governments got. So, I mean, it is, they were struggling, or better still, they need to sit down and actually make calculations and schedule the money and make sure they use it judiciously and make sure it's going to the right places, which is, paying your workers on time. So 155K might not be necessarily easy, but at the same time, their allocation.
But judging from the allocations that they are getting from there, and majority of it have to be on this recurrent expenditure that is being done, especially in salary payments and all of that.
Right.
But also we understand that even local governments are paid separately. So meaning that local governments can also take care of their own side.
Right.
Well, anyway, we keep watching this very particular news that is coming out on 155K until it has been confirmed by the federal government and ratified. We'll continue to talk on it until the average Nigerian gets what they actually deserve for now, pending this. Then one of the things that I also spoke about earlier, we want to also bring you that the soldiers who were killed at Okama community, Delta State, were said to be buried as we speak. That burial is ongoing, and we'll be bringing all the details about the burial later. But Divine, quickly, because we don't have much time, while we are talking about, and we sympathize with the families of the deceased that are being buried today, but I don't want us to fail to realize that there were many more people who were also killed and their houses razed in Okama and other communities around that riverine area. So we also want to mourn with them. Whether burial has gone on their side, we don't know. But at the same time, while we mourn and sympathize with the victim families, we also want to do the same to the people of the community where these things happened.
Well said. We actually condole with the family of the people who lost their lives at the Okama and the casualties, because we realized, based on insider stories and insider reports, that they had over 50 people who lost their lives, and community people were actually rendered homeless, and people's legacies were actually brought to naught. So we understand that you know, this death was actually a very painful one, and we condole with the families of the military officers who lost their lives. But at the same time, we don't buy Senator Ndume's you know, philosophy of some animals are more equal than the others, because military soldiers alike and actually community residents alike, all of them, their lives are important, and so we pray for the soul of the departed to rest in peace.
Okay. Join issues with that all animals are not equal, because I guess that goes with the senators who some of them has rights and some of them might not. Some of them can be outspoken in the Senate and some of them might not. Where the Labour Party people are, whether they are outspoken, I wouldn't know, but I do know of Tony Woye, who is actively making his people, Anambra North, proud. So let's again look at, I think, okay, they are giving us signal, and our signal be say our time don't go. But before we go, I want to talk about Labour Party convention that is still going ahead. Right. Notwithstanding, we don't want to join issues with Labour Party, the convention that they want to go, the actions that are being taken by the National Working Committee of the Labour Party. We don't want to join it. So much questions have been asked, and where is P2B's position in this? Please, these questions that have been sent to us should go to His Excellency P2B. But of course, when you keep bringing it, we will push it across, and that is where. So please, the Labour Party National Convention that is slated to hold I think is meant to hold. And as we say, we don't want to join issues with them until PO has finally spoken to the Obidient, and we know his take in all of this. That is what we have. Then, that reminds me to bring to you my promise to the Obedience. And that very promise is to always make sure that in this show I bring about the registration of all the Obidient Family Cooperative Society. Many people have gone to their local government secretariats to register Obidient Family Cooperative Society. I want to ask, which local government are you? Please go to the comment section. Tell us which local government you are. If you have gone to the local government, what is their requirement? What you see on the screen right now is a registration for one of us who has registered as an Obidient Family Cooperative Society, and they are giving them the certificate of registration. Go to your local government. The finances, we have our Obidient Family Cooperative members who are volunteering to pay for most of these registrations. So it means when you go and you get the details of the registration in your respective local government, you get it across to us, and we will now discuss it and finance payment of the registration documents to come out. As you can see, they have bylaws. All of this is Obidient Family Cooperative Society, and this is what we want to have in all the local government of the Federation. We have 700 and something local governments. Please do go to your local government area, inquire about the Cooperative Society department, and ask what is required to make this registration. It takes a minimum of 10 persons to get registered. And if you don't have the finances to do the registration, send us the quote, send us contact details, and we will talk, and then we will advance you with the financial implication to register it in your local government. It is not coming to us, it's coming to your community. This is the avenue that we are proposing, that we are formed, that the help we are talking about should come. So whether you must not be a farmer to be a member of the cooperative society, you must not be a farmer. If you are in that local government and you are an obedient, this is a call for you to make sure that all of you are together. And by doing this, you, after registration, you are going to have a bank account, and from that bank account, the finance and support that we are talking about is going to come through. So I'm really impressed with the people who are actually making this effort, and we advise you in different, our people in the north, in the south, in the east, please go to your local government, get back to us at Obidient Family TV that you have gotten the requirements and this is the amount. And we'll go ahead to profile it to the committee, to the steering committee for payment so that we can get all of this registered. Please, this is moving towards the new Nigeria we are talking about. It's not about us, it's about a collective addition of the nation, good of the nation. A new Nigeria is certainly possible. Until we come your way again later, bye for now.
Who in Lagos has forgotten all about governance? Nothing appears to be happening in Lagos.
Sorry, what did you call him?
Orojide Sanwo-Olu. They had to bring out Oro for him to win. All he does is go around pointing fingers, and when he points at you, you are in trouble. No, I never called him the lion of Babylon. I called him the Alaafin of Bodilon.
Okay.
Never the lion of Bodilon.
Okay.
A lion has to rule, and a lion has some nobility to it. This one has no nobility to him. Please.
I don't think you saw then that man was ever going to become president. In fact, I think I watched one of your interviews where you said that if he became president, you were going to go on exile.
This question has come so many times that I'm thankful for the opportunity to perhaps explain it so that the idiots who have continued to assume that I have broken my word would be clear. But Tinubu knows, INEC knows, the judiciary knows, and so do a lot of Nigerians that Tinubu did not win the presidency. He stole it. You have people who should be in jail, rotting in prison cells, presiding over the affairs of the country. You actually have to be functionally insane to remain in Nigeria. In fact, anyone you know who can afford to live abroad and has refused to go and has stayed behind is a madman. The person has to be insane because Nigeria is cannibalistic in the extreme. The Nigerian is busy crossing the Mediterranean Sea after surviving the Sahara and the slave markets of Libya. What are they fleeing from? Because that's not migration, that's fleeing. How did we get to this point? And it's going to get much worse. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I am merely speaking to what I see. There is no way I will fulfill my purpose without offending people. I've lost friends, I've lost clients. I piss off a lot of my friends, and that's fine. The truth must be told, whether people like it or not.